Yo guys, this is my last video with these old rickety headphones. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to get a new pair today, hopefully, and I won't have to hold them close to my mouth this whole time. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe it'll be the same story, but hopefully not. I'll actually sound better, at least, for me, at least, when I'm talking to people. But this is another healing from my past video. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling good about life in general. Yeah, feeling good about life in general. Got some upcoming financial things that I'm kind of worried about dealing with. But I'm starting a new job, and I'm also struggling with school a little bit. But I'll be fine as long as I buckle down and get the work done. I would be just fine. I'm gonna get to do some of that today, which is great. But anyway, healing from my past. So, last we left off, I had left Jen, and I'm just gonna say also that I may or may not have changed people's names. So the names you hear in these videos may or not be real. FYI, to protect the innocent, right? Anonymity. But anyway, so you won't know that. But so basically, yeah, I left her, and I had become homeless, basically. And the funny thing is, it's not funny, but the thing about being homeless, me being homeless, was I was living on the other side of Maryland, and I had my mom on the other side of the state, and my family and my dad and everyone. I had people, so I wasn't really homeless, if you know what I mean. I could have gone to them and I could have lived with them, but I didn't want to. I wanted to stay where I was, and so that's what I did. I stayed where I was, and I lived in my car. And I had a good friend of mine, who was like, he was the closest thing I had to a guardian, really. This guy, such an amazing guy. And he looked out for me. He was just such an amazing man. And so this started out with a really interesting turn of events. I had quit Aldi's. I was working at Inner Equinox full time. And it was kind of like my dream job in a way, because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm working at a crystal store. This is like my dream job, kind of. But it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, of course. And the pay was really bad. And I took a pay cut because of how much I loved the job, how much I loved crystals and everything. And I did get into it with the manager a little bit. We butted heads a little bit here and there, and we had a troublesome relationship after all, eventually. So here's the next chapter of my life unfolding here quickly. And this is in 2019. This is in, man, time freaking flies. That's all I'm going to say. Time really freaking flies. This is honestly crazy how much, you're going to be surprised at how much happens in the next few months. Like, this is literally just a few months and all the stuff's happening. So I'm living in my car, I'm working at Inner Equinox, and I'm in the back room, and working, and this dude walks in, this old guy. He's got like round lensed hippie glasses. He's got a literal chain link necklace, chains from a fence, basically, or like literal chains, and comes back in there and starts talking to me and everything. I'm like, oh, well, first off, I'm like, dude, like, you're not allowed to be back here, and he's all excited, and he's talking to me about shungite, and I'm like, dude, I love shungite. Shungite is a stone. It's supposed to have electromagnetic protection properties. It's supposed to purify water. It's supposed to be healing for the body. It's supposed to do all these things, this stone that you just keep on your person and do stuff with. And so we end up talking, and it's an unlikely connection, and I'm kind of starting to think, like, dude, this guy is actually pretty cool. He's a little bit, but he's pretty cool. And we get talking and everything, and he starts telling me about his name and everything. He calls himself General Lee. And of course he has a story and a show for everything. He says, my name's General Lee, because everything I say is generally true. And that was kind of a joke. And he also went by Glee, because he just and he actually did represent the embodiment of Glee at times. He was so happy and joyful about certain things, had this ability to just be so happy and joyful about things. But was also a normal person, and had problems as well. So, long story short, I talked to General Lee and blah, 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 and get a sense for this dude, and I know he exists, and he becomes a character in my world, working there in Equinox. And then I also shortly hear from a friend who, from the past, a lady named Laura, who was, she's about 50-some, 57 or something like that. Yeah, she's about 60 years old, maybe. Close to that. And she was a Reiki. She was the lady who certified me and Jen to do Reiki. And she was the first lady I'd ever gotten Reiki done by. I went to her house and she did Reiki on me. She was like a very comforting, nurturing grandmother figure to me. And my brother had also met her and had Reiki done as well. And blah, blah, blah. So she reaches out to me, and I'm telling her about where I'm living, and telling her about Inner Equinox, and I'm telling her about General Lee a little bit. And I had also ended up, I ended up moving in with General Lee. He had a big house. It was just him, his wife, and a little dog. And he was, I don't want to say wealthy, but he had enough wealth to have a huge house he had built himself, custom made, 2-story big house, big property, and had a second house on the property that he rented to people. And I can't remember the circumstances under him letting me stay there was. I don't exactly remember discussing rent and things like that, but he let me stay there. And so I was staying there in this room at his house, and it was very interesting. He was a very interesting character, and I did find out quickly that, all that glitters isn't gold, of course. Like, he was a cool guy, but at the same time, little iffy, just like, I don't know, when you trust someone and you live with them, I don't know, you got to be really careful about that, right? You got to be careful who you hang out with. You got to be careful with the people you spend time with. This is the general rule that I'm learning. And I'm learning it very slowly, unfortunately. And, so anyway, I'm living with General Lee, and I'm talking to Laura, and she's catching up with her, and I'm telling her what's going on. She's like, oh, wow, yeah, wow. And then she starts telling me about how she used to live where I was living, and this is like her hometown or something like this, and blah, blah, blah. And, she asks me, she's like, do you think you could talk to General Lee for me? And tell him a little bit about me, and tell him about my story, and see if possibly I could live there as well. And I kind of felt a little awkward, like it was imposing, like, who am I to talk to him to ask for someone else to live there when I'm already kind of living there for free. And at this point, free, like, I'm trying to help him. Oh yeah, the premise I was helping him under was I was going to work for him, and he had this invention that he was inventing with shungite and these things called God pods. And they're like these little metal tubes that had magnets in them reversed, and they're supposed to like reduce and remove pain. And they actually did work to some extent. Like, I had hip pain one time, and I put them in my pockets at work, and hip pain went away. Like, it was pretty interesting. It was taking magnets, reversing them, and putting the repelling magnets together, forcing them together, and then putting them in this little aluminum tube, like literally a section off of a crutch is how he made it. And he crimped the ends so that the magnets would stay in there. And so there's just this perpetual force being emitted. Anyway, those were called God pods, his invention. And it worked. So he was all into it. He was all in shungite. He was all like, he was totally just totally enveloped and captivated by this. And so I ended up talking to her, and she ended up coming out to Inner Equinox to visit, and then she met the person I worked for, and then she ended up working there at the store. She volunteered kind of, but she also was doing Reiki, and she was like fit in at the store a little bit, and she met General Lee, and he was kind of smitten by her, not in a romantic way, but he felt for her and felt like she was wonderful, and he called her Lady Laura. That's what he kept calling her, Lady Laura. And he was married happily, but still, so again, it wasn't like romantic, but he was just smitten by her, like said, oh my gosh, this is a wonderful lady, we should take care of her, we should be doing the honorable thing here. So he allowed her to move in and live with him as well. So me and Laura are living with him, and it's not very far from work. It's like half an hour's drive from work, and maybe a little more. And I ended up getting a job at Harris Teeter grocery store because I wasn't making enough at Inner Equinox, and it was not going very well at Harris Teeter for me. Just wasn't really going very well, and so I quit. And it was kind of a joke, actually. Not the job, but it was the fact that I worked there for a short time and then quit the way I did. It was kind of a joke. My life was kind of a joke at the time. I mean, I'm not going to hate on myself and say, like, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. But I am saying that, like, literally looking at my life from now, I can see that I was like, what the heck am I doing? Why don't I just move home? What am I doing? Why am I out here in this world? Why am I doing all these wiggly things? I'm doing wiggly things. That's how I felt. So anyway, all this stuff happens, and eventually I meet this guy named Cian. I'm hanging out with John, the guy who is my guardian / angel, the guy who healed Jen and then things came back to her. And he's like, dude, I have got somebody you want to meet. I think you guys will be friends. I think you guys could be good friends. And I'm like, okay, And so he gets together with me, and we meet this dude, and his name is Cian. And he's like me. He's very similar to me. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's an everyday, down-to-earth, just normal dude. He's very unamused with life and with people and with anything. He's skeptical. And all this stuff. And he's just cool. And, he's a few years younger than me, just a couple. But I'm like, yeah, I really do think this could be really cool, a cool friendship. And I was feeling all these things, these thoughts and feelings, saying, man, this could be really cool. This could be a really cool friendship, And it turns out he had made Orgonite in the past, and he has all these supplies, and he gives them to me. He comes over to General Lee's house and meets General Lee and everything, and, so I'm not alone in this wacky world I'm in. And then I'm trying to think about the order of events here, because it was a real weird order of events. Let me see. I am so trying to remember how this went. Okay, I think I've got it. Yeah. This is crazy. Crazy. Okay. So here's what happens next. I'm at work one day, and this dude comes in, and he's a really, really interesting guy, like unusually interesting. He looks like he is very, 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 he seems and acts like he is very either high or mentally unstable. He seems very frenetic. He has a very frenetic personality. He's very unkempt. He's dirty. His hair is a mess. His pants are hanging down. He smells bad. All these things. And he's with his mom. And his mom is like kind of hippie in a way. She's kind of hippy-dippy. And anyway, he comes up to me at the counter and just starts talking to me about things. Like, just matter of fact, like, hey, did you know that the time vortex is going to close? Did you know? And he just starts telling me about all these things. I'm like, that's not exactly what he said, but this is the type of stuff he's saying to me. He's saying all of these things to me. He's like, yeah. He's like, and he's like telling me about all this stuff and the emerald tablets and all these esoteric things. And he's just going off. And I'm like thinking, I'm thinking like, I don't know what's happening. And I'm just like, I remember there's a moment. I had this moment, and this moment was a moment that kind of changed everything. And boy, did it ever change everything. You'll see how much it changed everything here in the long run. But there was a moment where it presented to me, life basically said, or God said, you know, you have a choice. You can listen to him. You going or what? You coming in or what? No, just sitting there. Okay. You can listen to him or not. You can believe him or not. You can hang out with him or not. You can get involved with him or not. You can allow this person into your life or not. And I was like, yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely feel that, because it was kind of like warning vibes. It was kind of like, you might not want to do this, Justin. This seems a little crazy. And I don't know where John was at the time, but John wasn't around necessarily at the store that day, at least, or he wasn't. I don't know where he was at the time, but he was in the vicinity, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But you know what I decided to do? I decided to say yes anyway. So I didn't necessarily have strong vibes saying, don't do it, don't do it. It was just like, well, I'll tell you what, it's up to you. And I said yes. And so I got involved with this dude, and I ended up going over to his house, and oh my gosh, what a world. What a world. What a world to get wrapped up in. What a world. 2019 was basically one of the craziest years of my life. I'm absolutely positively sure now. And I can see this now, and this is all adding up, and it's all making sense. And I have never, I'm gonna have to continue this video, but I have never had a crazier year than 2019. It was by far the craziest year of my life. Like, I mean, the year where I broke up with my wife and blah blah blah, that was crazy too, because of just how crazy it was to break up with her. But like, as far as crazy things are concerned, as far as unhinged, just off the chain things are concerned, because this video is going to pick up on this in the next video. But this was insane. When you hear about this stuff I'm about to tell you, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. And thank goodness, literally, thank goodness that I am able to make these videos, because otherwise, woo, it would be crazy.